Hey, welcome back to Star Technology, where in the last video, we started working on LuV progress, and made it about halfway to the goal of energy hatches, but we did some things. We made a pretty much minimum size assembly line, and we got access to LuV power. So I think this video, I'm just gonna be continuing where I left off, just trying to get to the LuV energy hatches, because what else can I really do? And the main thing really that I'm missing is the LuV assembler, and that's expensive, because that also takes a pretty big assembly line. And if I'm already upgrading the assembly line, I think I'm gonna go to the maximum length, which I think is 13. But that means it's not gonna fit here. I guess I'm probably gonna be expanding the platform soon. I might just hang it off the edge. It's not like that stopped me before. So I'm gonna need to make a lot of stuff here. I basically just need to take one of these middle sections, I guess, and just make how many more of them? 8? This is 6 long, the max is 13. 7. So I'm slightly more than doubling the existing length of the assembly line. So I need 7 more ULV input buses, which really shouldn't be much of a problem. There we go. 7 more input buses. And I think 14 more laminated glass. And 21 solid machine casings? Yeah, that'll be fine. But I think those are the only low-hanging fruits here. I guess the next easiest would be 14 assembly line gratings? Yeah, they're not too bad. Assuming I have enough iron bars. Yeah. And 7 more assembly control casings. This is when it starts getting a bit more complicated. I'm gonna need to make the rear gears myself. How much would that be? 8 more gears, 48 ingots? So that's gonna take a little while to go through. But then the big one is I need 7 more assembly line casings. And these are just gonna take forever. Hopefully I won't have too many problems with this, like I did last time. I have upgraded a few things since then. I have an EV input bus on the mixer, so then it shouldn't get clogged as easily. And also, I figured out how to set this up so that it only does one recipe at a time. Because I got a comment on the previous video telling me that this should work, and I tried it before, I couldn't get it to work, so I just dismissed it. But I decided to try again and see if there was anything I was doing wrong, and the main problem was that I was using an import bus to get the items instead of putting it back in the pattern provider that called for it. So now it does work. Sometimes... Okay, no, this is working, it's just I've got weird recipes in here, and I need to change circuits. But that should hopefully remove all of my recipe conflicts in the chemical reactor. I really wish I'd figured that out sooner. But anyway, those two things combined should make it a lot easier for me to make all of this. It might take a little bit longer, because I'm not doing multiple things at a time, but it'll be fine. But that should make the rest of the things I need to build the assembly line. I still need the stuff that goes in it. So to make the Elite Assembler, I need 2 LuV robot arms and 2 LuV conveyor modules. And these all take HSSS things. So I think I'm just gonna... Oh god, I need the assembly line even for some of the simpler things? Oh, I need to make so much stuff here. I am very glad I didn't try to arbitrarily shove this at the end of the last video. Alright, before I start making some of the LuV components, I need to make all of these things that go into it. I know I need a ring. I'd need plates and foils. I'd need bolts and rods. I needed a long rod for something, so I guess I do that in a forge hammer. Yeah, I've got the multi-block. It's gonna be like the chemical bath again, but I'll just have to deal with it. I'm gonna need screws. I need these rounds. Then nuggets in the lathe, and nuggets, I guess just a rod in the arc furnace. Seems easiest. And then I'm gonna need small and regular gears. I think that should be it. Right, that's all the recipes in place. So now I can try and make these LuV components. Starting with the electric motor. I have some of the things. Ah, I finally needed to start making lubricant. Okay, I'll get onto that in a bit. The Ruidite wire, I can make that. And the long magnetic samarium, I can probably make that too. But then the lubricant, I just need to set up a recipe for creosote. I can make the creosote in the pyrolyze oven. What's easiest? I guess block of coal with nitrogen. I can do that. So I can set up the lubricant recipe. And it goes in the distillery on 1. Okay, so that should work for the LuV electric motor. I mean, it's not going to work yet because the assembly line isn't long enough, but once this finishes crafting, it should be fine. So what are some of the other LuV components? I can probably, yeah, I can make the conveyor module now. I think I have styrene butadiene rubber? Maybe? No. Okay. How do I get that? Butadiene, styrene, and oxygen. I'm not sure what I expected. I don't think I've got either of those. Start with styrene, that might be the easier one. Ethylene and benzene, I can do that. And then butadiene, I think the best way would be electrolyzing butene, which I already get from distilling refinery gas. So then that should be everything for the conveyor module as well. And I think the other two that I'm gonna need is the piston and the robot arm. And I think, yeah, the only thing I'm missing for the robot arm is the piston. And I shouldn't be missing anything for the piston? Yeah, so I can just make both of them. Cool. But I'm not going to be able to test any of this until I can make the assembly line longer. So, what is going on with these components? They seem to be stopped up at the circuit assembler? Oh, I think I know what's happened. Yeah. There's residual soldering alloy. Because I was making more solar panels to put up here. And that is the only thing that requires soldering alloy in there. Yeah, that's fixing up the circuits. But then what's wrong here with the electrum and the nether star shards? I can just make some more electrum to see if that fixes that problem, yeah. Oh. And the nether star shards is this again. I really should just get a separate machine. But I should now... Oh. Where'd the tungsten steel frames go? I should be able to make the assembly control casings that I need, and the assembly line casings are almost done. There we go. So I should be able to expand out this assembly line now. Yeah, and I'm gonna need a rotator anyway, so there's no point leaving this here. And I think I'm just gonna move it up the back here. And it's gonna be really long. Yeah, that's it without most of the hatches. Need the control block there, data hatch there, with the stick in it. Put the energy hatches up there. Yep, there's power. Then I'm going to need to put all of these input hatches in place with all the pipes. Then the ingredient buffer and the pattern provider and the fluid pipes. Then just connect it into the ME system. I think I'm probably better off cabling over like this for now. Yeah. And then hopefully that's everything I need. It has formed the multi-block, so I've built this correctly. I should have put the items in the right slots for the recipes. I really hope this works. Let's see, if I just make one LuV electric motor, it might take a little while to make all of the materials, but I just want to see if this works. It seems to be making all of the components. No problems there. It's not making the creosote? Oh, I don't have anything actually... Wait, what? I've set this thing up terribly. Hang on. There, it's a bit jank, but that's set up. And it should make the creosote. It's not making the creosote. Oh, the output hatch can't support it. Hang on. I've got a spare EV. There we go. So that makes the creosote. And it goes through and makes the lubricant. And... please tell me this works. One thing I wanted to see... Yes, it does fill in this side forwards. Ah, shit. The fluid doesn't do that too. Well, I can probably fix that manually. There we go! Okay. So, the items go in fine. The fluids don't. Huh. I have one idea for fixing that. It's probably not a good one. does this work with a quadruple input hatch instead? It does make the multi-block, it does accept these, but does it take it as two different inputs? Let me see, I'll try making another electric motor, because I know the items for that worked. Right, it's got the things in. It would be in the slots that I would expect them to be in. And if I wait for it to put all of the items in, that just works! Okay, I was fully expecting that to not be how this works. But I guess it would make sense that internally those are two completely different slots. And it doesn't care that it's the same hatch. But that fixed the problem? So does that mean the assembly line just works? I was expecting so many more problems with that. Well, let's put it to the full test. Missing ingredients. I don't have butadiene? Don't I have the recipe? I guess not. I have the recipe for butane. I mean, it's the same thing, just put it through the electrolyzer again. Yeah, now it's fine. So now it's going to run the full gamut of tests here. I'm going to be making all of the components. I'm going to be testing all of the recipes. One problem I can see right now is that if it was to put a second recipe in before the first one is finished being extracted, then it might break. So I'm just going to do the lock crafting method and change this around a bit. I just need to get the output from here and stick it in the pattern provider. While I'm here, I'll also stick a pipe upgrade in there, just to make it a little quicker. But I kind of just need to wait for all this to be done before I can really test that. Okay, it seems to be running some of these, but it's still doing the electric pistons. We'll see when it gets to the robot arms and the conveyor modules, which it is trying to do one of them now. Oh no, that's not good. Oh, I think it just has wrong quantities. Robot arm. Yeah, it doesn't have the right quantities of circuits in it. The rest is correct though. I need 2 IV and 4 EV circuits. And given how specific all the stuff for the conveyor module is, I'm just going to assume that's correct too. So if I just replace that myself, yep, that's all that was missing. So that'll make the one robot arm and free up the pattern provider again. And it's probably got the rest of the stuff for the conveyor module by now. So... oh, no, it's making other things. Guess I can just wait until it's made the conveyor module. Yeah, no problems with the conveyor module. Good. So I'll just ask for one more robot arm. And it's going to have to make a couple of circuits for me. But we at least know that the recipe works. So just give it a minute or so. And that should be all I need. Yeah, pretty much exactly 1 minute. And there we go. There's the Elite Assembler. The LuV Assembler. Now, I can get on with this. I don't know if I've got space here, but I'm only setting up the one machine, so I'll just place it here. And all I need this to do is just make the ludicrous voltage coils. And then please tell me that's enough to make the LuV energy hatch. I'm gonna have to make a bunch more things, presumably to make circuits and the like, but it should work. And this will also tell me if I need to make another data stick every single time, or if I can just have the one and it's fine. Need to give the assembler the right circuit, but otherwise, that's working. So then all I'm worried about now is if the assembly line works. Oh, sending the items in. Oh, good. Might take 20 seconds, but that's fine. It works. I can make this. There. An LuV energy hatch. Oh. I think the first thing that I'm going to do with this is I can probably upgrade it to a 4A hatch. I just need niobium titanium and rhodium plated palladium. But then I can upgrade this assembler to be LuV. There. The EU per tick is ZPM now. But I should be able to run LuV recipes. So I'll put that back in there. And I don't need this elite assembler anymore. And I should be able to just ask for a bunch of these energy hatches. Oh, I'm gonna need a lot of them. You can go 10 for now. But which machines do I want to upgrade? Because IV is kind of the max speed for most things. Like, these machines are already running most recipes in one tick. I don't need them to be going any faster. If I wanted them going faster, I'd need parallel, but that's a whole other thing. The only exception to that would be the mixer, so I guess I'll upgrade the mixer so that can go a bit quicker. Because, yeah, that's like 20 seconds for some of these. If I could get some of these recipes down to like 5 seconds, because that's what it would be after the next perfect overclock, that would save a lot of time. I think all of these large multi-blocks are probably worth upgrading, except maybe the material press. I don't know what the point of that would be. It's already about maximum speed. But the crystallization chamber, yes, and the chemical bath, yes. Those are both very, very useful. Obviously, blast furnaces, that kind of goes without saying, and chemical reactors. And I guess by extension the vacuum freezer, because that's going to have ingots that need LuV. I think the multi-smelter's fine, because on IV it's already unreasonably fast. And it doesn't really have recipe tiers per se, and if it does, I'm not using it for that. So I think that's fine. Only blast smelter, yeah, it's probably worth upgrading that. Everything in the clean room is worth upgrading. And then the air distillation is probably fine on Ivy. I could make it go faster, but I'm really not using all of this stuff that quickly. I mean, look at this. I've got millions of it. So yeah, I think I'll just leave this on Ivy as well. Assembly line probably needs to be upgraded to LuV, because this is very, very important going forwards. Mystical agriculture, probably don't need to bother with that. I don't know how much I'm going to be touching this anymore, unless there's anything in particular I want to cheese the production of. I think I'm fine to leave this as is. The large sieves are already generating hundreds of thousands of things for me. I do not need to upgrade these. And then this power setup is already kind of outdated. The solar panels do most of it, so I can ignore that. So then that just leaves the large multi-blocks, the mixer, the blast furnace, the chemical reactors, the alloy blast smelter, and the assembly line to be upgraded. So then that would be, what, 32 energy hatches? A lot of them are going to need to be 4A as well. So I guess preemptively I can make a recipe for that. But all of this is going to be something I do on my own. Just by the sheer amount of time it takes for me to make even one of these hatches, I'm not going to be able to fully upgrade. Well, now that I've got LuV energy hatches, that has opened up so much stuff. And I'm not entirely sure what I've got time left for in this video. I think I'll sit on it for a bit. I'll read through this tree and see what I can work on next. But I think for the rest of this video, I might be able to get a bunch of the other LuV components. And I'm not sure how much I'll need the sensor. Oh, I'll need it if I want the next parallel control hatch. No, that's a long way off. How about the emitter? Again, I don't know how useful that would be right now. The pump? I can make small machines with it, but I have the multi-blocks for pretty much every machine I'd need. I think I'm just gonna have to do this on the basis of seeing when I need it and then making it. So actually, if I leave LuVB for now, there's a bunch of other things that I've been wanting to do for a little while. There's a ton of very easy quests around here that I just ignored for a while. So sure, I can just go back through and grab all of these easy goals here. Starting with huge diesel engine. This is a bit of a complex recipe, but I can just blast through this. There we go, huge diesel engine. And then the large barrel is the only other ULV quest. But that is very easy to make. And there, that's ULV done. Next on to LV. This one, annoyingly, I can't complete because it's got this large neodymium magnet, which requires this crazy tree to be near completed. So I'll just do the super chest and call it at that. It's pretty easy anyway. There we go. And that's going to be it for LV, what's left in MV, just the tree greenhouse controller. But again, I can make that very easily. That's MV done. Oof, EV's got a bunch of things here. I'm not entirely sure I'll be able to complete this. What does the nuclear reactor entail? It doesn't want to tell me. I likely wouldn't need to make the entire multi-block, but it's not telling me how to make the control block. So I'm not going to be completing EV, but I can grab a bunch of these other ones, like the cupric chloride solution. It's just copper and chlorine. Then with a bit of work to get a Lapotron crystal, I can make a Lapotron crystal, the battery version. That's 2 quests? I don't know where the second quest was. But I think the only other thing in EV that I can get right now is the diamond upgrade. That's not that bad. There we go. Diamond upgrade. I guess I could make the EV hatches. How far would that be? The 4A hatch is nothing. I can do that no problem. But the 16A hatch, it's mostly just the insane voltage transformer. And I can craft everything I need for that. Yeah, that wasn't too far out of my range, just had to wait a while for it to craft. So yeah, that should be a 16A energy converter. Cool. And then if I can figure out how to make the nuclear reactor control blocks, then that's it for EV. And for IV, there's a bunch here that I'm not bothered to do right now. But the big one is this line that I can pretty easily complete. I just need to get borosilicate glass fibers. So borosilicate glass, which is glass and boron. I can get boron from lepidolite? Yeah, I have. I think it was purified, no, refined in the macerator. And I don't have a thermal centrifuge to turn it into refined. Is there a different way to get boron? Borax? Salt in the ore processor? I can do that. Stick some boron in the electrolyzer, or borax rather, to get boron. Then just mix it with glass, smelt it, then put it through the wire mill. And there's the borosilicate glass fibers. So then I'll just grab some reinforced epoxy resin sheets to trigger that quest, and fiber reinforced circuit board to trigger that quest, then the fiber printed circuit board to trigger that quest. And there's 2 more here. The Lapotronic Energy Orb, and an engraved Lapotron Crystal Chip. And this one's a doozy. But I don't think I'm going to bother with that right now. I think that's all the cleanup that I'm going to do here. Could I make the IV 16A hatch? Probably. No. I think I'm just going to leave that. And I don't think there's anything else from the other trees that I can do. So, that is a ton of cleanup done. We're now done with ULV and MV, as well as HV. LV, all I need is the neodymium magnet, but that's not happening. EV, all I need is the nuclear reactor and turbine multi-block controllers, but don't know how to get them. And then IV, just a bunch of random, mostly unnecessary cleanup. Cool. That's pretty good foundation to go into the rest of LuV on. And a good point for me to end this video. I feel like that's good progress. The LuV energy hatch kind of speaks for itself. It's arguably the most important part of any power tier is when you get the energy hatch. Because that's when everything upgrades. I'm not sure I have much else to say about this progress. Assembly line, energy hatch, random cleanup. Not much else of note. I'm not entirely sure what to go on with next time. I can figure that out on my own. But there's some interesting things to make soon. We'll see. There's certainly no shortage of things to do. So I'm going to leave that till next time. So yeah, I'm just going to call this video here. Bye.